Robert cherishes these moments at home, playing with his family. Just a few years ago, he didn't think this family time, which so many take for granted, would ever be possible for him.
I didn't even know what anxiety was. I didn't know anything about it. It's either kill yourself or keep trying. I kept trying.
Robert is an Army veteran. He enlisted while he was still in high school, saying he knew that this was his path when the 9/11 attacks happened when he was just in 6th grade. He was deployed to Iraq for about 10 months, and as with many of our nation's heroes, what he saw and experienced in wartime stuck with him when he came back home.
So that paranoia sets in quite a bit. It's overwhelming because you don't exactly know how to handle that.
It would take some time to understand what he was experiencing and get his official diagnosis, PTSD. But he says the effects of it were overwhelming.
There was one day I was drinking quite a bit, and I had dug this hole behind my grandfather's home in the woods, and I decided that, it might just be easier to just kill myself. I won't feel any pain anymore.
For Robert, this wasn't the last time his mental state would bring him to this point.
Fear overrode everything, and I decided, okay, wait a minute, maybe the hospital can do something. I haven't tried that yet.
Roberts feared he would be part of the statistic, part of the 20 veterans a day that die from suicide.
And I bought 1 ounce.
But today, he has a little help calming his PTSD.
We literally did a 7-hour trip to D.C.
In addition to medication prescribed by his doctor, he smokes medical cannabis when things get really bad.
It takes the edge off. It's like taking an ibuprofen for a headache. That's how I like to describe it to people. It's not a cure. This is not gonna, for me, it hasn't cured me. It hasn't been like, you're finally better now. But what it does do is when you feel very vulnerable and out of your mind, you can take the edge off and you're not as nervous anymore.
And seeing him being a father to my daughter is just amazing,
This was a family decision for the Roberts.
I love you.
His wife saying using cannabis has changed the family dynamic for the better.
Seeing him function as a dad, as a husband, it changed everything. It really has.
Robert now revels in the day-to-day with his family, but acknowledges his use of cannabis means he's actually breaking the law here in North Carolina, which does not allow it to be used recreationally or medically.
It's kind of a joke now that it's illegal in the state. I mean, it's legal in 36 other states, and it helps so many people. It's almost a joke that it's still illegal here in a state that has Fort Bragg and Cherry Point and Lejeune. I had never tried cannabis up to that point.
Robert is one of many veterans who now have a new mission these days, trying to convince state lawmakers that the law needs to change and medical cannabis should be allowed.
You are continuing to kill good citizens in this state and forcing them to suffer.
North Carolina's legislature is led by Republicans and has taken a conservative stance against any sort of softening of its marijuana laws. Those stances have been backed by conservative advocates for years.
I could only pray that you will see through the haze. Research is conclusive that marijuana is addictive and harmful to the brain, especially when used by adolescents.
But now there is a softening of that stance, with 2 Senate Republicans joining a Democrat in sponsoring legislation to narrowly allow for the use of medical marijuana.
And if we can alleviate some of the anguish and some of the pain that person goes through, and that the person and people who love that person go through by helping that individual, we should be willing to do it.
Senator Bill Rabin holds the powerful Rules Chairman position in the Senate. He's ushering this legislation through his chamber, and he says for him, this is personal.
I'm a cancer survivor. I know how rough it is to go through chemo. I know how bad it is to wake up every day and think that it may be your last day on earth. And there are a lot of people out there that feel the same way. And it is just what it says. It is a Compassionate Care Act. I think there's nothing less compassionate on this earth than to watch a person you love suffer when there's something that can ameliorate at least that suffering.
In Durham, Andrew Bauer says he's been seeking relief from medical marijuana for years. Bauer has suffered from chronic pain for most of his life. There were times when he was able to enjoy life outside, but today, most of his life is right here in his bedroom.
Snack during the day, so.
Bauer can point to bullying incidents when he was a child that started his path of pain.
But it's like the only memories I have are the traumatic ones. I don't remember anything except the back injury. I remember exactly the street corner it happened on. I remember every single head injury as if it happened yesterday. I remember, the bullying, getting hit, going down the hallways in between classes.
Today, that pain can be overwhelming.
It affects my entire left arm and shoulder, so that's nearly useless.
Bauer says simply walking to his driveway is difficult, but allows him one of his few enjoyments, taking pictures. But for him, this short walk also means a lot of pain medication.
Currently, I'm on 10 milligram oxycodone between 7 and 8 times a day.
Bauer is hopeful medical marijuana will be allowed for someone like him in North Carolina, because he says friends in other states with similar chronic pain have seen major changes in their lives.
If it had the same effect on me, or even close to the same effect that it has had on people that I know personally who have taken this, my life would get about at least 100% better.
But as this bill is currently written, even if it made it through the major hurdles and was passed into law, chronic pain like Bauer's would not be eligible to try it.
This is the best of me here now on opioids, 8 times a day. Imagine me being able to walk 4 or 5 miles without that cane.
The decision about whether or not to open the door at all to medical cannabis falls with the legislature now. And there are many voices who say they would like to see that door remain closed, but others who say it simply needs to be opened.
People don't realize how easy it is to lie to doctors. I didn't, but telling somebody you're fine when you're in the back of your head thinking, yeah, I'll probably try again next week to kill myself.